Rhode Island, for example, this week, 2 new field hospitals were opened there after the state declared its conventional hospital capacity was full. The 900 new beds will be for non-critical patients. So let's bring in Senator Sheldon Whitehouse. He's the Democratic senator for Rhode Island. It's very good to have you with us, Senator. So what are your concerns? Because Dr. Fauci's just been on the programme. He's saying that we are still, at the beginning of this second spike. Where does this end, and what does that mean for your state, Rhode Island?
Well, we are regularly adding more than 1,000 cases a day in Rhode Island, which is a record, an unfortunate one. As your program has pointed out, this week we opened 2 additional field hospitals to support our regular hospitals. That relieves pressure in the regular hospitals at the back end. It takes people out of the hospital who are ready to either go home or go to a nursing home or need lower levels of care, but for one reason or another don't have a safe place to go to. But it doesn't do much to protect surges that might come at the front end, at the emergency rooms. And so we're still watching very, very carefully. I toured one of our field hospitals just at the end of last week before it opened. And I'll tell you, it's quite a sight to see rows and rows and rows of beds looking like the old pictures of the 2018 epidemic response. Sorry, 1918 epidemic response.
Yeah, I can imagine that is pretty sobering. Listen, we just heard from the doctor there saying we're not getting enough federal help. Yesterday, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer backed a bipartisan stimulus package, $908 billion, which is a lot less. It's a climb down from the $2 trillion that the Democrats were calling for. But it doesn't appear it's going to go anywhere because Mitch McConnell is stitching up his own plan with the Treasury Secretary. Is there any chance, Senator, that you're going to get something together before Christmas?
Unlikely. Leader McConnell in the Senate has refused to negotiate with Democrats. His strategy is to put out bills that only his caucus like and not even everybody in his caucus, and then force a vote on them to, I guess, try to embarrass us and then make speeches about how we didn't pass his bill. The serious way to do this is to sit down and negotiate. Speaker Pelosi's already given a lot of ground, as you point out, stepping back from $2 trillion to $908 billion, and it's just unfortunate that we're in this predicament in which Mitch McConnell has very little interest in moving forward. And at the same time, we have a White House with the president fixated on an election that he lost and trying to lie his way back into power instead of paying attention to the COVID crisis, which he frankly wasn't paying much attention to begin with. So there's been both executive leadership failure and this, for some reason, a Republican blockade in the Senate.
Senator, on another topic, you have made more speeches about climate change than anyone else in the U.S. Senate. Now we have Joe Biden, who says he's going to be the climate change president. What should be his priority in his first week, do you think?
Well, I think he has to signal to the world that we're back, that we'll join the Paris Agreement, and that all of our diplomatic efforts are going to be focused on solving the climate change problem. He also has to get things going in the U.S. government, and he sent a very good signal that every single one of his appointees will be charged to get progress going on climate, not just cabined into the traditional energy and environment agencies. And he has to rev up engagement in Congress to get a serious bill done, which is possible when, as and if, corporate America decides it's going to engage in Congress on climate change. So far, we see a lot of talk out of corporate America, but when they send their lobbyists to Congress, when they send their trade associations to Congress, and when they send their money into elections, all of it is completely disinterested in climate change, and much of it is opposed to climate action.
And with so much violent weather here in the United States recently, with these hurricanes, with the forest fires, do you think more Americans are convinced that our climate really is changing?
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. People see it firsthand, and you see lobbying groups like the U.S. Farm Bureau, which lobbies for the farming community and big agriculture, very much dialing back their stance that climate change is a hoax and nothing should be done and that this isn't a serious problem. They're now making more positive statements and they're starting to engage. But so far, it's mostly been talk again in Congress, just as in your parliament. Members know what people are saying when they are there. And that's something different than what they say when they're talking to the public. And those things need to start getting aligned in Washington, D.C.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, thank you so much. And so many doctors on the programme tonight. I just elevated you to. But thank you so much for coming on, Senator, and speaking to us tonight. It's good to see you and good to get an update from Rhode Island as well.